Hi there, my name is Sky and I'd like to be your new favorite art teacher. This week, I will be taking you through a serene coastal estuary scene with the silhouette of a heron. Let's get started. Hello there artists, jumping into today's tutorial, I'm going to go through the materials that we're going to use. I have my 4 standard brushes that I use in most of my classes. These 4 come in a kit with these 4 sizes that I like to use. Your brushes don't need to be the exact same size and shape, but they should be the same general size and shape and meant for a water media. This first brush is a large wash brush. This is a 3/4 inch wash brush. And then I have 3 pointed brushes of different sizes that I like to use. This first larger one is a size 10. And then I also have a size 3 and a size 3/0. This is just a real tiny one that we only use sometimes for the real tiny details. I'm gonna get those in my water cup off the side of the screen. To start with, we have a really simple background today. We've got a pretty simple painting today. Should be really fun, quick and easy. So make sure to take your time and enjoy. I just have some cadmium yellow, cadmium orange, and some white. To see a full materials list of everything that you need to paint along, check the description box below. It'll show you the colors for today's tutorial, but it will also have a link to my materials page on my website, which is skypratt.com, SKYEPRATT.com. You can click on the materials page and it'll break it down for you, everything that you need to paint along. Okay, let's jump in with the background step. I'm going to grab my largest wash brush. And we are really going to keep it simple today, and we really could go orange to yellow or yellow to orange, but I think I'm going to start with yellow. And I'm going to start out today's painting like I start out many paintings, which is with a horizon line. I'm going to go a little bit further down than halfway. Not super important, especially yet. That is roughly where my horizon line is going to be. And then I'm going to pull my paint moving upwards from that initial line. We're going to bring yellow down here too though, so don't worry too much about it being a straight line. That's just orienting ourselves. Make sure you have a little bit of water on your brush and mixed into your paint mixture. Then I'm going to take some gorgeous orange. I love working with these bright pigments, as you can probably tell from my channel if you're here, and you probably do too. Could add a little more extra white if you wanted, but I'm going to just do a real simple gradation of that yellow. So I mixed a little bit of the yellow into the orange, or the orange into the yellow, whichever you'd like to think of it as. And then at the top, it'll be just orange. So I went in between there to help me with the blend with that yellow orange. See how I'm going all the way off the canvas. It does not need to be a perfect blend. In fact, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of extra yellow with a little bit more white. That white helps with the opacity. I'm going to add a couple quick streaky bits here in the sky. And things will start blending, and that's kind of the idea. So we're kind of mixing things up a bit. And the more you go over things, the more blended it will become. So just subtle, just a little bit. Okay, now I'm rinsing my brush because things got really blended. You know, worst case scenario is everything sort of blends to yellow-orange, which is not so bad of a scenario. That's still a pretty color, but I do want some variation. I'm gonna bring my yellow further down into what will be the water. I went a little too far down with my orange. Add some yellow streaky bits back up in there if I can. Super simple today, everyone. Really good starter painting. Especially this background. The crane will be the crane will be easy if you have a little bit of a sketch background. It's simple in terms of we don't need to mix any colors, but it is a little bit, you know, technical of a shape. Okay, then I'm just going to bring some yellow orange down at the bottom. So we've created a mirror image of our first gradation. Beautiful, and just pull a little bit of that orange up into the yellow for some streakiness as well, and some more yellow. I think I need a little bit more light yellow up in my sky again. You can work with your background until it looks about how you want it to. I'm just keeping all my brush strokes horizontal for sake of simplicity today. Really simple. No clouds or anything like that. Unless you'd like to add them, you're always welcome to get creative. I encourage that. But I know for a lot of you guys, you like to just follow right along exactly too. But feel free to mix things up if you'd like, kind of play around with this fun background with this simple blend and get it until you like it. And then we're going to just step away and let this first layer dry, and we'll come back and add all of our silhouette work. Okay, I'll see everyone in a couple minutes. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a dry background and fresh new colors on a new piece of palette paper. I took my yellow and orange over from my last palette, was able to save a little bit, added a little bit more yellow. We only need a pinch of those. And then I also added some black and white. I rinsed my brushes and got some fresh water break as well. Let's go ahead and jump right back on into things. Okay, I'm gonna grab my second to smallest detail brush and trying to decide the order here. It doesn't matter too much what we start with. So I'll just go ahead and start orienting myself with a bit of black. Okay, I'm going to try to center this as best as I can, or keep it straight rather. I'm going to do a horizon line. I only got a little bit wiggly. That's pretty challenging. It's definitely something that takes a bit of dexterity. You could certainly use a ruler if you would like. I like to sort of use the pattern that's like innate in the canvas, like the texture of the canvas, to help me stay straight. But it's just okay if it's a little bit wiggly. It's not really the end of the world. Okay, and then we're just gonna add like some interest. So in my mind, this is maybe like an estuary, right? So there's like maybe a little bit of sort of like a sandbar, or perhaps a distant like cape that would maybe go out to the ocean that way, something like that. And you can make this however you'd like, really, in terms of how tall. I was inspired to do this. I lived on the Oregon coast for a while, and also in the central coast of California in like Morro Bay, and I would see these gorgeous herons all the time, and it has a very sort of misty coastal like dunes feel. It's what I was inspired by for today in my mind. So I'm gonna keep my mountains pretty small, kind of just like those sand dunes, sandbars. Growing up in the Central Coast, I had a kayak when I was younger. My mom gave me a kayak for my 16th instead of a car. And then I had to work at a restaurant to buy my car. But I used to kayak all around these gorgeous estuary areas. Okay, let's see, we're gonna go right underneath now with some horizontal lines. So I have my same brush. You could use a smaller brush if you would prefer. And I'm going to do just a little bit of shadow reflection right underneath. So your shadow, you're mirroring it, the inverse of it, but with these horizontal brush strokes rather than the full shape. Kind of bringing it down. Very light pressure with my brush strokes. Okay, that's sort of like our mid-ground. All right, then I'm going to grab a larger brush, my medium-sized brush, and a bit more black. I'm going to come down here at the bottom, and I'm going to do our foreground. And I'm going to think about where I want to put my crane, which will probably be right about there. So of course I want to have a nice little area for him to stand on. Oh, I said crane, it's actually a heron. They are very similar looking birds, especially in terms of silhouette. Herons are like that gorgeous gray blue, whereas cranes are white, and then also the herons have the head feathers that I thought were really cute. So this painting has head feathers, so we're doing a heron. Okay, very nice. It's just a little bit more interesting to have those different layers. Okay, let's add some gorgeous reeds now here in our foreground. So I'm going to again be thinking about my gorgeous heron. So I want to not take up the entire ground area here with reeds. We want to give them a place to stand. And I'm just starting from the bottom, from that black section, and just pulling my brush stroke gently up. And feel free to use your smaller brush if you would prefer. And they're just going to be different heights and sort of overlapping. And I'm going to do them sort of in like a little tuft. So coming from the side over, and I really think that the black looks so pretty with the orange background. And then I'm going to add a little sort of teardrop shape onto the ends of some of them. Not every single one. I'll have some that are slightly smaller. That one kind of got a little messed up. So fix the shape, but then it ends up bigger. That's okay. Making sure that things are balanced enough with the just ones by themselves too, just the leaves. So pretty. And let's see, I kind of want one further down, maybe like right there, just kind of like the suggestion of one. It's okay if things get a little bit dense. That's kind of what I'm going for. That looks good. And now I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm actually going to make them a little bit taller. A couple of them. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now just the same thing on the other side. It's been a little while since we've done a simple silhouette. Let me know in the comments section if you like to do this style of painting. I think it always comes out nice. I really like the high contrast colors, bright colors and black. That's sort of a mixed school of thought in the art world, though, to use bright colors like these and pure black for the silhouette work. But, you know, I saw a gorgeous sunrise this morning. Now I live in New Mexico. We have great sunrises here all the time. And, you know, it's just mainly the part that comes over the horizon. But the colors were literally this bright. So I would actually challenge the idea that bright colors like this aren't found in nature. I'm just selective. I have almost perfect color vision. A lot of women do. So I just find these colors in nature all the time, and I find them just so stunning and like stimulating. Okay, adding a couple of my cute little teardrops. Add two. Looking pretty good though. Okay, very cute little areas. I'm gonna do a couple more blades of grass coming a little further out. Just not going too tall with the grass. There's kind of like our water entry point. Looking good though. Okay, and let's go back into our sky a little bit. We're gonna add a few more details. So I'm going to do a sun, just like how I mentioned this morning. I saw this gorgeous sun right on the horizon. We want to sort of capture that feeling. So I'm going to do just a little off center just to add interest. I'm going to do a simple circle with my light yellow for our sun. Okay, and then right underneath, I'm going to add some reflection of the sun, and I'm going to do that the same way with these simple back and forth brush strokes. That's good. Let me grab my medium brush again. I'm going to do a few more things in our background before we add our heron. So with my large brush, or medium-sized brush, largest of the pointed brushes, I'm going to grab a little bit of just pure orange. I'm going to add some darker streaks up top, sort of in those areas that have blended to yellow-orange to ramp up the vibrancy even more. And I think I could do a little bit of those streaky colors down in my water too. Be careful not to pull it through your black, of course, though. And that sort of gives a little bit of like waves and movement in the water. So up here it's sort of like streaky clouds and sunset colors, whereas down here is more the reflection of that, which also gives us that feeling of the water moving. And I'm going to do the same thing with some light yellow. Kind of helps with the blend too. You can go over any areas that weren't as well blended with that fresh coat of color, like right there, for instance. Trying to keep things still horizontal. Very pretty. And how about some bright yellow all the way up top? What does that look like? Pretty nice. I think I'll actually do more of a yellow-orange. Just kind of playing around, mixing things up a little bit. That looks pretty. Less is more for this step. Okay, we're ready to add our crane. Heron, keep saying that. Apologies. Okay, I'm gonna work still with my second to smallest brush. But again, feel free to use a smaller brush if you'd like a little more control. Going to take that same black color that I've been working with that has a little bit of water added into it. And I think I'm going to, let's see, I'm gonna center it, or a little off center. So we kind of have our sun over here and then we'll have the bird here. And I wanna make sure that I go far enough up to give it space for legs. And I'm going to do like a sort of teardrop shape. That's gonna be the sort of base of our body. I'm gonna push the front out a little bit because I needed mine a little longer. They have pretty long legs. If you came up too high, the legs, if they look too long, you could add some more ground. You can adjust things as needed, which is a nice plus of using just the silhouette. I'm going to do sort of like a second little oval at the bottom and have it get really, really skinny at the end for those tail feathers. Okay, and then the legs, I'm going to kind of start with one and sort of gently slope it back a bit and then come down into that black section. So really skinny legs. And then one right next to it. So they're really, really, really close together. That's a little too skinny. Back one would be a tiny bit skinnier. That's a pretty challenging part. So if it looks good enough, then just call it good. Don't overwork that. Okay, and then for the neck, which is of course the sort of iconic part, I'm gonna start from the front and come out and do sort of like an S curve. And then at the top, I'm gonna have a little, starting fairly skinny. I think this is finally time for our tiny brush. Comes in handy sometimes. And then a straight beak will come out. It looks really cute but skinny. And we'll just sort of thicken things until they look right. And of course, you'll have a skinnier neck up top, and then a thicker neck that connects to the body. A little bit more of like an extra sort of triangular shape on top of that initial teardrop can help that shape look a little more heron-like. We want a skinny neck, but not like comically skinny. Okay, looking pretty good. And again, just starting small and adjusting slowly, bit by bit, bigger and bigger, until it looks about right. And then of course, as I mentioned, herons will have these gorgeous head feathers. So I'm going to do a real gentle head feather, or even 2 head feathers. And that is pretty much the whole crane shape, so heron shape. So pat yourself on the back if you did it. I'm proud of you. Going to use this tiny brush to sort of correct a few areas, but I think that looks pretty cute. And while I have this tiny brush, I think I'll add a little bit of tiny brush strokes here at the bottom for some really tiny grass. And a few more tufts. Like how about right there on that little hilly part. Look at how tiny those brush strokes are. It's just the tiniest difference can change the whole look of the painting, really. It's amazing. It's like the head feathers, for instance. If we hadn't have added those, it would have looked like a totally different bird. And I'm being patient since this is pretty much the home stretch. So no reason to hurry, but that looks pretty good. Okay, my final step, I'm gonna add sort of like some seagulls perhaps, because this is just an ocean estuary scene. So of course that wouldn't be the only bird. And I like to kind of balance out the composition. So I'm gonna do just some sort of gentle M shapes of some birds flying off in the distance. That's always a fun thing to add. I'm gonna make sure I don't have a drip. If you did paint along with me today, I would love to see your work, and I've created a Facebook group called the Art Club. You can join us over there and share your masterpieces. We are a couple thousand members strong, and shout out to my members over there. Thanks for being there with me. I love seeing your work. Seeing your art is the best part of my day, truly. I hope you enjoyed painting along with me today. Let me know what you think about these simple silhouette paintings. And that is all the instruction that I have for us this week. So happy painting, and until next time, stay creative.